Right now, though, very pleased to have with us on the show from the great state of Texas, Congressman Blake Farenthold. Congressman, good evening to you, sir.
Mr. Edwards, how are you this evening?
I am good. I really appreciate you coming on the program tonight, even breaking a little news here, because I understand that there was a vote this evening on an amendment to H.R. 5326, which is the appropriations bill dealing with the Department of Justice.
We did. You know, we added some, as we go through the appropriations process, we have the ability to add on no money from this appropriation shall be used for. And Jason Chaffetz and I came together and we got an amendment that said no money appropriated to the DOJ could be used in furtherance of misleading Congress. I mean, it sounds like common sense, but, you know, all that misleading letter they sent us on Fast and Furious and all this stonewalling that they're coming up, you know, the taxpayers are paying for it.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. And so what this means that if they continue to engage in this type of behavior, this type of stonewalling, this obstruction, that funding can actually be yanked from the DOJ?
And it's technically illegal for them to pay for that. There's actually another amendment that a lot of the talk about with Fast and Furious that actually pulled some money from them. I don't remember the exact amount. I'm voting for almost every amendment that comes up that cuts spending.
I'm shocked to hear you say that, Congressman.
Well, you know, I was going to do one that said, hey, let's just defund Eric Holder's salary. And we kicked that around the office for a while. And you said, you know, really the Constitution says you need to impeach somebody to get rid of them. Of course, in the private sector, you just quit paying them and fire them. But,
right.
You know, in the government, you know, there's some other rules there. So, yeah, we may still be able to go after on contempt of Congress. You know, impeachment's not out of the question if it proves he's committed crimes and misdemeanors, which I think lying to Congress is one. So I don't think we're done with Mr. Holder yet.
Well, what do you make of the vote today? I mean, 381 to 41. You had 142 Democrats vote yes on this amendment.
You see, that's why this one I think was actually better than the one I was thinking about doing with just defunding Holder, because this makes it anybody, not just Holder, who works or is involved in producing misleading documents or makes misleading statements. Basically, it means they don't get paid.
Uh-huh.
Now, the question is, I mean, there's some implementation questions. How do you prove it and all? But I think a big chunk of this was making a point that Congress doesn't want the American taxpayers' money being spent on misleading Congress. And this bill specifically dealt with the Department of Justice. But as I was talking about this on the House floor this afternoon, there was a hearing in the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and Government Oversight and Reform Committee about how the TSA has potentially provided misleading information about how much taxpayer money they are wasting warehousing all these security technology deals in Dallas. We asked them to tell us what they had in inventory, and then we sent investigators down there, and looked like they were wheeling stuff out the back door.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the information we believe, and we're working on getting the proof of that, but we believe that the numbers that they said they had in their Dallas warehouse of, you know, these whole body scanners and explosive detection devices, you know, they're warehousing stuff there over a year. I mean, it's just this high-tech stuff just sitting there letting the warranty expire on it. We think the numbers they gave us of how much they were actually storing were not entirely accurate, and that's not good.
No, it's not. I mean, I was going to be a little facetious and say, you know, the more of those machines that are warehoused, that means the more number of nuns get groped every month because they can't go through the machine. I mean, Congressman, we could talk about TSA for probably the next 2.5 hours.
No, I didn't mean to go off topic. We were here to talk about the amendment, but it's relevant and germane because this is. I'm afraid we're developing a culture within the executive branch of this government that we're above the law and the rules don't apply to us. You've got Fast and Furious, which is a perfect example. You know, we don't have to turn anything over after the investigation began. Oh, come on, it's the cover-up that gets you every time. The American people will forgive some mistakes, but when you start lying you lose the American people. So you got Fast and Furious, where they're not being entirely forthright, and I'm putting that politely.
Right.
You've got what's coming up with the TSA, and then even though this isn't I praise GSA for coming clean. You look at this scandal, of their meeting, if you will, in Las Vegas, and it's like we don't care about the taxpayers' money. What kind of culture is developing in the government? You got the Secret Service thinking it's okay to pick up some hookers in Colombia.
Right.
Well, what has happened to this government where federal employees paid for by the taxpayer dollar think some of these things are a good idea?
It would appear, Congressman, again, I wish I had all the answers, but it would appear that they believe they can get away with it. They appear that this is, if not allowed, particularly when you look at something like the GSA scandal, something that is thankfully nobody died as a result of the GSA conference in Las Vegas scandal, as in Fast and Furious, but. Here you have a guy who thinks it's fine to go to Las Vegas on the taxpayer dime, stay at this, chintzy resort, take pictures of himself in a bathtub, put them up on his Facebook page with the champagne glasses there. And again, it's our tax dollars. And there was, I guess, no thought in his head at any point in time that, perhaps this is not a good idea. This is not a good stewardship of the American people's
This is
money.
A lesson to your children. Be careful what you post on Facebook.
I've never put a picture of me in a bathtub, and I never will. I can tell you that, taxpayer funded or not. But, I think you're right about this. And I'm sure that you hear this a lot when you go back home to your district in Corpus Christi. We shouldn't feel, I don't think we should feel that distant from our federal government. But I got to tell you, even living 17 miles away from Washington, D.C., I feel awfully distant from my federal government.
Listen, I am thankful that I have the opportunity to go home to Corpus Christi almost every weekend, and they give us a week a month. They used to call it recess, but it isn't recess. They really renamed it properly to Constituent Work Week because it gives you time to go home and just listen to regular people. Go to the grocery store and talk to people. Go to the restaurants in town. Attend some of the civic group meetings. I treasure the time I'm not in Washington, D.C. I've got a small condo up here that I stay in. It's not much bigger than a hotel room, and I'm trying not to. When I get too comfortable up here, it's time for the voters to replace me.
It's rare to actually hear somebody say that, Congressman, but I admire the sentiment. Now, with the passage of this amendment tonight, what happens with the appropriations bill now? Is it?
Well, we're still doing amendments on the appropriations bill. In fact, they're saying we're not going to be voting again for at least another half hour. When we took over as Republicans, committed ourselves to an open appropriations process where anybody on any member of the House of Representatives can file any amendment that they want that doesn't increase spending. You can move stuff around or you can cut, but you can't increase. So there are a lot of members here who believe, like I do, we're spending too much money, and so we've got dozens of amendments that people are speaking on and arguing about on the floor as we speak. And we'll be here. They said we're going to be here tonight until we finished all the limitation amendments, which are like the amendment we did with respect to no money can go to lying to Congress.
Right.
And there, like I said, there are dozens of other amendments that prohibit things like spending. There's some prohibiting the DOJ from spending any money to challenge a voter ID in some states. There's some. They're just pick your issue, and there's some prohibitions there. A lot of those will get washed away when we go to conference committee in the Senate, which is unfortunate. But it gives us the opportunity to express the will of the people, express the will of the House, and say what we would do if we were in control.
Talking with Congressman Blake Farenthold, Republican from Texas. I got to ask you about another amendment, Congressman. I know that there's been an amendment attached to the appropriations bill that would block ATF from enforcing this requirement for border state FFLs to report the multiple sales of long guns. And there's been some indication by the president that that would be something that he would actually, he'd veto a spending bill if that got to his desk. Which,
again, indicates that the White House is out of touch with the American people and really, I talk about this a lot when I'm back home, that from Washington there is a war on the state of Texas. The additional regulations that violate both the Second Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution that require our firearms dealers to report multiple sales. I mean, clearly unconstitutional, clearly aimed at border states like Texas. You look at what the EPA is doing to the oil and gas industry that is leading Texas into economic recovery. Victoria, Texas, which is just north of my current district that I represent, their unemployment is like in the 5%, driven by the oil and gas industry. They can't find enough people to work. The employers are saying, look, if you can pass a drug test and are willing to show up at work, we got a job for you. There was a Dairy Queen that had up on their sign, help wanted, $18 an hour.
Wow. At Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queen.
Where? I've got a 21-year-old. That would be an upgrade. I'll send them there.
All right, I will send you the location of the Dairy Queen. I'll be real honest with you. We were driving through what is going to be the district that I'm running in, and I saw that sign and went, "Holy mackerel!" We were at a red light, and when it came up, and I got my camera out, but it had switched to it was rotating through different messages. I wanted to get a picture of that and tweet it.
That is amazing. $18 an hour at Dairy Queen. I worked in college at a Long John Silver's, and I think I made $3.35 an hour.
Oh, well, you see, I did better than you. I started out at $5.25 doing the all-night shift at a radio station on weekends when I was in high school.
Ah, well, see, lucky you. I didn't get into television until after college, so I did my time at Long John Silver's and Hardee's.
For the seafood lover in you.
Exactly. In fact, but you know what? I did work the drive-thru, so that was actually the first job where I had a microphone.
I worked one day as a waiter in a restaurant, and it wasn't pretty.
Originally, I was hired as a cook at Long John Silver's, but they moved me to the drive-thru after about a day as well. Now, I got to ask you, you said you were driving through what's going to be the district that you're running in. Is this because of the redistricting in Texas?
Right. Texas is redistricted. Right now, I represent Corpus Christi to Brownsville, and they're flipping it over where I'm going north instead of south, and I will pick up Victoria, Texas, which is in the heart of the Eagle Ford shale boom. Go up and get Wharton, Texas, which is kind of on the way to Houston. Some of the best barbecue and beef jerky you'll ever find. Some great road stops there. I'll pick up part of Bastrop, Texas, which is just outside of Austin. Part of Luling, which is a little further outside of Austin, but has City Market, which may be top 5 barbecue places in Texas. So I went from Mexican food to barbecue.
I just want to. Can I just cover your campaign for a couple of days? Can we
come on down?
Can we just do the barbecue route?
Come on down.
Oh, you're making me hungry, Congressman. Now, I guess, do you still live in your district, or did the boundaries?
I do still. I'm a fourth-generation Corpus Christian.
That's good.
I'm in the southern part of the district. It's a solid 3.5-hour drive to the northern end.
Oh, wow.
That's nothing compared to some of the other Texas districts. Kiko Canseco goes from San Antonio to El Paso. That's 500 miles.
Oh my gosh!
He gets a lot of the Mexican border there.
And what about the political makeup of your district? Has that changed dramatically?
I went from a toss-up district to a 60% McCain district, so it's a more Republican district. But I've got 3 challengers in the primary, which early voting starts Monday, and the primary is actually the day after Memorial Day. So I got a primary, and then I got 4 Democrats who are fighting it out in their own primary. So got to work for it.
Absolutely. Well, I ran across a story. I think maybe it was the New York Times yesterday. It must have been because I didn't actually read it. I just saw the headline, and it was about first-term congressmen who are now running for reelection and finding it a little bit different. Is this different than what you thought it was going to be, running for reelection?
I thought it wouldn't be as political as it is. I thought once elected, you'd have some time to actually think forward and work on governing. But you start campaigning almost the day that you take office. Because we run every 2 years, there's really no downtime from campaigning. And a lot of people ask me, well, do you think that's bad? Do you want to up it to 4 years? Wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't it be less expensive? Wouldn't it be easier? I go, no. That our founding fathers had a great idea when they turned the House over every 2 years. That's how we were able to get 88 new freshmen in here to stop Barack Obama. We are the backstop or the brakes to a runaway government. The voters can turn us out as they see fit every 2 years. And, it's kind of a pain to run that often, but I'm proud that I'm a part of a system that really changed Washington.
Absolutely. Well, and, I think the change is not done yet. Congressman, thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program tonight. Great talking to you as always. And next time, you're in D.C., you've got, a free lunch or dinner, let's go grab some barbecue. I know a great place in Alexandria.
All right, we'll do it.